Another thing that gets overlooked sometimes is our equipment. We want to make sure that our equipment is set up properly for each client. And as a tip for you, I typically don't move this nozzle too much once I have it set to the perfect place. And the way you're going to know if it's in the perfect spot is if enough solution is coming out to where it's not oversaturating your client and they're not super sticky, but also enough to where you see color. So if you have ever played with your gun, which I hope you have, this nozzle right here, or this knob actually, is going to rotate all the way right, and it also goes all the way left. All the way right is tighter, so righty-tighty, left is looser, and you can actually feel the difference in your trigger when you mess with this. So I try to have it a little bit towards the tight side because I don't want to oversaturate my client, and so if it was a little too loose all the way to the left, it would emit too much solution. So that's not what we're going for. Another tip as far as the equipment goes, if you have an adjustable machine where the airflow can be adjusted, you want to make sure it's all the way as far as you can go, so that way the airflow is also, it's helping push out the spray. And that way you can have full control just by moving this to the perfect direction or the perfect place each and every time. So when I say that I don't mess with this, most of the time when I get a new gun, what I'll do is I'll place a little mark on the thread that I want it to stay on, so that way I don't have to keep on playing with this. The goal here is to keep things as easy for you and to make each tan flawless. So if you keep this at the same exact place, keep your machine all the way high as possible as far as the airflow goes, and you spray tan each client like that, more likely than not, you're going to produce the same consistent tan all the time. Now, you might be asking, why don't you move this? Doesn't it depend on the client's size or how dark they want to go? The way that I mess with my gun adjustments as far as how much solution is being placed onto the client is by going closer to the client if I want to go ahead and get a little bit darker of a tan, or going a little bit further if I want to go lighter on the tan. So that's how I operate. Now, everyone is completely different. You may or may not agree with that. That's perfectly fine. But this is the way I do it. This is the way that I've been able to keep loyal clients, and this is the way that I've been able to keep consistent tans throughout my entire journey. So with that being said, I wanted to show you guys what it looks like when the knob is as tight as possible versus when it's as loose as possible. So I'm not going to do it that tight because this trigger won't go. So we're going to do it just a little bit tighter, where there's about 2 to 3 threads showing. Okay, so that's going to be tight. You can see how big or how wide your spray is. This is going to be loose. So you can see the differences here. It's not too much of a difference, but you can see this one's a little bit wider, this is a little bit more narrow. You're getting more solution here being emitted, you're getting less solution here. Typically, I like to stay more narrow just because I like to have control over where the spray is going, and I don't want to oversaturate my client. So somewhere in right between here would be perfect. I think this is a little bit too tight for my liking. That was about 3 threads. This was pretty much the whole thing was all out. So it's not going to make a huge difference, but you're definitely going to notice the saturation on your client. You're going to notice how much solution is on them if you go this route, because there's just a lot more solution coming out of the gun. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Again, just to kind of recap, what I like to do is keep my little knob on my gun the same exact way each and every single time, and really adjust the amount of solution I'm putting on the client by going closer or going further away if necessary. I put my machine on the highest setting that it has as far as the airflow goes, so I can make sure I'm being consistent with the same exact tans that I'm producing each and every time. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I hope that this has helped you, and I'll talk to you guys soon.